Moskvitch was an automobile brand from Russia produced by AZLK from 1946 to 1991 and by OAO Moskvitch from 1991 to 2001. The current article incorporates information about both the brand and the joint stock successor of AZLK for the sake of simplicity. OAO Moskvitch was a privatized venture name given to the former factory in order to avoid legal issues after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. Since the factory had no assembly branches outside Russia after 1991, its name is largely used today to refer to the building located in the lower eastern part of Moscow and abandoned since 2006. The word Moskvitch itself translates as a native of Moscow, a Moscower. It was used to point out the original location of the cars manufactured in the capital of Russia, Moscow. History. In 1929 the construction of Moscow automotive plant began with initial production of 24,000 vehicles. Between 1940 and 1941, it built the two-door compact car Kim 10-50 and its Phaeton version Kim 10-51. In 1941, after having produced less than 1,000 units, the plant was evacuated to Ural and the entire production converted for the manufacture of military equipment after Hitler's invasion during World War II. After the war, the production of the Kim cars was not resumed, and instead the USSR acquired an Opel manufacturing line from Brandenburg in Germany to manufacture the modified Opel Kadett under the name Moskvitch 400 in 1947. In the 1950s and afterwards the factory, now called MZMA, replaced it with its own cars developed by Soviet engineers. The second post-war generation consisting of the Moskvitch 402-407 and 410, then by the more advanced Moskvitch 408, 412 and 2140. The M407 was the first Soviet automotive export to be truly successful in the West. Up to half of all M407 production was exported for a number of years, mainly to the Eastern Bloc countries, Norway, Finland, and France. Later models also proved a good value in Great Britain, Finland, and Norway, for instance, and in 1968, 55% of production was for export. In 1969, the factory changed its name to AZLK. Moskvitch cars were sturdy, reliable on substandard roads and were offered at an affordable price. The 1960s and early 1970s were the glory days, when the cars were exported to many countries throughout the world. Demand always exceeded production, so people had to wait a long time for a new car. Until the 1980s, all Moskvitch cars were compact rear-wheel drive saloons and estates with solid rear axles suspended by leaf springs. The Moskvitch was also produced in Bulgaria between 1966 and 1990 on the basis of complete knockdown kits. Models 408, 408i, 412, 21412, AZLK, total of 304,297 cars. 1986 saw the unveiling of a completely new model known as the Moskvitch 2141 AZLK, which was often upgraded and restyled during the period of its production. It was powered by the 1.5 LUZAM used in 412 model and VAZ 2106 1.6L inline four-cylinder engines, which had by then amassed an acceptable track record powering a number of Lada models. AZLK was different from any model the factory had made previously. It was larger and more luxurious, made with comfort, safety and aerodynamics in mind. The new car had such innovative features as front-wheel drive, a hatchback body style, McPherson strut front suspension and torsion crank rear suspension. It had rack and pinion steering and a collapsible steering column. The 1.8-liter gasoline engine for the new car was planned, but never materialized, as was also the case with a diesel version. In the early 1990s, AZLK still remained one of the largest auto companies in the USSR. Design and experimental work was prepared to create a new model car and an engine plant. However, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, due to a financial crisis, disruptions in the work of the company and financial mismanagement, the engine plant was not finished and the Moskvitch company fell into decline. Because of its location, Moskvitch was in a more vulnerable position than companies located in other regions, as the cost of living and car production in Moscow began to grow rapidly. The factory, which had been renamed to OAO Moskvitch in the early 1990s, filed for bankruptcy in 2002 and ceased production. Unfinished body shells remained on the production line in various stages of completion, while furniture, computers, office supplies, and documents remained in the plant's administration building. Several attempts to restart production have been made over the next 3 years, but none were successful. Recently, a portion of the abandoned plant was acquired by OAO Avtofremos, a 38% to 62% joint venture between the city of Moscow and French automaker Renault-SAR. In 2005, Avtofremos commenced assembly of Renault Logan sedans from imported complete knockdown kits. The presence of Avtofremos brought new life to a small part of the facility, but the majority of the sprawling plant remains abandoned, apparently still owned by the dormant Moskvitch company. The bankruptcy of OAO Moskvitch was officially announced in 2006 and the company was liquidated the following year. Since 2009, the owner of the brand Moskvitch is the German automotive company Volkswagen. In 2011, the company extended its brand ownership rights until 2021, a 10-year period. Generations. First, Kim 1050 two-door compact car. Kim 10 to 51, the same car with a Phaeton body. Moskvitch 400 to 420 flathead engine 23 horsepower. Moskvitch 400 to 420A. Moskvitch 400 to 420B. Moskvitch 400 to 420K. Moskvitch 400 to 420M. Moskvitch 400 to 421. Moskvitch 400 to 422. Moskvitch 400 to 424E. Moskvitch 401 to 420 flathead engine 26 horsepower. Moskvitch 401 to 420B. Moskvitch 401 to 420K. Moskvitch 401 to 420M. Moskvitch 401 to 422. Second, Moskvitch 402. Moskvitch A9. Moskvitch 410. Moskvitch 423. Moskvitch 429. Moskvitch 430. Moskvitch 410N. Moskvitch 411. Moskvitch 423N. Moskvitch 407. Moskvitch 431. Moskvitch 403. Moskvitch 424. Moskvitch 432. Third, Moskvitch 408 OHV50 PS modified 1360 cc 407 engine. Moskvitch 408 Tourist. Moskvitch 433. Moskvitch 412. Moskvitch 426, Moskvitch 427, Moskvitch 434, Moskvitch 2140, Moskvitch 2136, Moskvitch 2137, Moskvitch 2734, Moskvitch 2138, Moskvitch 2140SL, Moskvitch 2733, Bolivar, 4th, Moskvitch 2141 Eleko, Moskvitch 2142, Moskvitch 2143, Moskvitch 2144, Moskvitch 2335, Moskvitch 2336, Moskvitch 2340, Moskvitch 2344, Moskvitch 2901, Moskvitch 2141, Moskvitch Svidagor, Moskvitch 2142 Dolgoruki, Moskvitch 2142 Kalita, Moskvitch 2142 Niaz Vladimir, Moskvitch 2142 Duet. Sport and racing cars Moskvitch 404 Sport, Moskvitch 409, Moskvitch 412R, Moskvitch 2141KR, Moskvitch G1, Moskvitch G2, Moskvitch G3, Moskvitch G4, Moskvitch G5. Prototypes: Moskvitch 444, Moskvitch 4x4, Moskvitch 415, Moskvitch 415S, Moskvitch 416, Moskvitch 2148, Moskvitch 2150, 3-5 series, Moskvitch 352, Moskvitch 353, Moskvitch 354, Moskvitch 355, Moskvitch 356. C series: Moskvitch Delta, Moskvitch S1, Moskvitch S2, Moskvitch S3, Moskvitch S4, Moskvitch 2143 Yorza, Moskvitch 2144 Istra, Moskvitch X1, Gallery.